I, 52 male, have two sons, a 36-year-old and another nearly adult. My youngest is a senior in high school, and my oldest is a dentist. When my youngest was 5, I got a promotion and made more money than ever. My wife and I decided to start saving up for a college fund for our youngest because we couldn't do that for our oldest. Since early this month, our youngest has been starting to get acceptance letters, and so far he's gotten 2. He was so excited, and we were all happy for him. He's still undecided about what he wants to do and where he wants to go. He told me it was either something dealing with the medical field or him becoming a lawyer. Our son received his second acceptance letter last week, and he was overjoyed, as were my wife and I. My wife decided now would be a perfect time to tell our son about the college fund, and I agreed. When we informed him, he was surprised at how much it was and asked us if we were serious. We informed him that we were and doubted it would cover all of his expenses, but it would help a lot. We encouraged him to try to get a job to put money in there. He agreed with us and told us he'd start looking for one and appreciated what we did for him. Seeing him smile from ear to ear was the best thing in the world. We were happy to see our son happy, and it made us even happier when he was thrilled to tell his brother about him getting another acceptance letter. My oldest son called me shortly after the conversation with his brother, and I could tell he was crying. He asked me if I was alone and if his brother was near, and I told him that I was alone and that he wasn't. I was concerned about him crying and asked him what was wrong. My oldest son continued to cry and told me that he was tired of my brother getting everything handed to him. He told me it's hard to pretend to be happy for his brother when he had to work for everything he had. I was taken aback by this, and I apologized to him. I told him how we couldn't afford many things that we could now, and that we were just trying to give his brother the things we couldn't afford when we had him. My oldest then asked me why we kept him, if we couldn't afford to keep him. He then said that watching his brother get everything he wanted as a child hurt. He said that if we couldn't afford him, we should have just given him up for adoption. Hearing him say that hurt me beyond belief. I actually started crying too, because although his mother and I couldn't give him everything we gave his brother, we still tried our best to shower him with our love and support. Hearing him say how he'd rather be adopted hurt me to my core. I tried apologizing again and explaining how much his mother and I love him, but he just hung up in my face. This honestly hurt me more, and I tried to call him again multiple times to explain myself, but he just sent me a text saying, "I'll call you back when I'm ready to talk. Please stop calling me." I told my wife what our son said to me, and she started to cry as well. She tried to call him, but I stopped her as I informed her that he didn't want us to talk to him. It's been a week and we still haven't spoken to our son. We usually talk every 2 to 3 days. My wife and I have been crying ourselves to sleep lately, and I don't know what to do. So the kids are 19 years apart. So when the youngest was 5 and they started the college fund, the oldest was 24 and could have used some financial support. Why, when he was 24 and you got a promotion, you didn't want to help your eldest? If you save so much money, why not give your eldest half to help pay off his student loans? Oh, wait, because he isn't the golden child. Jesus, you and your wife suck. Exactly. My wife's a therapist, and one of the things she likes to say is, if it's hysterical, it's historical, meaning the older son is likely upset about multiple instances of imbalanced treatment, whether intentional or not. It's not about the money or gifts or anything material in a greedy sense to me. It's the fact that the parents don't see you as equal, and the lack of financial support is a direct reflection of this. This story is about how OP feels, with no attempt to think about how his son feels. Agreed. The son was the one that they should have been helping. My student loans come with massive interest that I'm still paying off. Do you know what would have happened if they had helped even a little at that time? Interest on $10K is a lot less than interest on $20K. Dude, the choice to set aside funds for your youngest 13 years in advance instead of helping your oldest, who could have benefited from those same funds at that moment, definitely makes you an idiot. Good luck mending this because I doubt you can. I, 26 female, have been married to my husband, 29 male, for 1 year with no kids yet. My sister-in-law, 18 female, has been living with us for 4 months. She's a freshman in community college, and ever since going there, she's been staying with us. She will continue to do so until she graduates. I agreed to this since I also want to help my husband. My mother-in-law shoulders her tuition fee, but everything besides that, my husband does. We live in Asia, and it's typical for parents and family members to support children until they finish college. I'm a freelancer working at home, whereas my husband is an office worker. I earn way more than what my husband does, so it's expected that I shoulder most of the bills and groceries. I also do most of the chores at home while I work 10 hours a day. This is fine with me, since I do love maintaining a clean home, especially cooking. But when my sister-in-law moved in, I expected her to help. If I didn't cook, we don't eat. They're always waiting for me to make dinner, and never once did my sister-in-law make dinner ever since staying with us. She doesn't even do the dishes after every meal. A lot of times I do it after cooking the food we eat. I kind of expected that as a courtesy, she'll help with the dishes. This is how I and my siblings were raised. The only chore she does is her own laundry. My husband also does all the yard work. It's my sister-in-law that doesn't do anything at all to help in the house. One Saturday, I went out to go grocery shopping and bumped into a friend. We decided to eat out at a nearby restaurant to catch up. When I got home, I put away the groceries and went ahead and watched TV. My husband asked me what's for dinner, and I said, I already ate, so I'm not cooking anything. My husband was okay with it and ordered dinner for him and sister-in-law. The next day, I also didn't make anything. Husband asked why there's no dinner yet, and it's already 7 p.m. I said I wasn't hungry, and I was skipping dinner, so I didn't cook anything. This time, my husband was angry and called me selfish. I answered back and said that I'm not their servant, and they both are adults, capable of making their own dinner. I also added that I'm so tired of doing everything, and them, my sister-in-law actually, not helping. Husband asked why I didn't say anything if I was so tired. I know it's my fault for not communicating this particular issue with him or sister-in-law, but I just thought that it shouldn't be something that I needed to tell them. And besides, I'm not comfortable demanding my sister-in-law myself to do chores. This is the part where I might be the idiot. I only have an issue with sister-in-law, but then I flipped out at the wrong person. My sister-in-law heard everything and apparently told my mother-in-law about it because I've been receiving nasty messages from her, calling me an idiot. I don't know how to move past this. I wish I could have dealt with my frustrations differently. I and my mother-in-law have always had a good relationship, so this whole situation is stressful to me. I'm contemplating just apologizing to all of them. Am I really the idiot in all of this? Not the idiot. Your sister-in-law is taking full advantage. Did she have chores at home? Regardless, you work 10 hours a day and shouldn't have to cook and clean. It's time to sit down with a chore and dinner chart to delegate. Sister-in-law may not be a good cook, but she can certainly wash dishes, sweep, dust, etc. Hub needs to step up to doing dinners too. I'm going with everyone's the idiot because you're expecting your sister-in-law to help out, but not your husband. You are 3 adults living in that house, and as such, the 3 of you should be doing household chores. How hard is it to take turns cooking? 3 people. Each of them cooks 2 days a week, and then they do their own thing on the 7th day. You want to be a maid for your husband? That's cool, but don't be shocked if other people living under your roof act like you're also their maid. Your husband is setting the example of entitlement. Update. Thank you very much for taking time to share your thoughts. I do agree with all of you and understand why some of you may find my story a little bit discriminatory. For context, I was raised in a traditional Asian household where wives are supposed to do cooking, cleaning, laundry, etc., and husbands do yard work, carpentry, and the like. My mom doesn't even want my husband doing chores inside the house when she comes over. I didn't realize it was really a problem until now, and I agree, this needs to change. I, 37 male, live with my wife, Jen, 37, and our 2 daughters, young teen and preteen. Last weekend, my wife went out for the day with our oldest daughter, whom I'll call Emily for this story, while I stayed home with our youngest. 3 hours after they left, I got a call from Emily. She was very upset on the phone and was crying. She explained that they went to a clothing store together. They split up to look at different sections, and now Jen is nowhere to be found, and her phone's going to voicemail. She had asked an employee to make a speaker announcement, but no one had come forward, and Jen had been gone for around an hour. I told Emily not to panic and that I would come straight down. When I arrived, Jen was still gone, and I couldn't see her car in the parking area. We searched for Jen in all the stores nearby in case she went in one of them, and I also tried calling her. Around 40 minutes later, Jen called me and said she was on her way back to the clothing store. I asked where she had been, and she said she drove to another nearby store that she wanted to go to. I asked why she didn't bring Emily, or at least tell her that she was leaving, and she said she didn't expect it to take a long time, or for Emily to even notice that she was gone. Emily's been distraught and avoiding Jen. She's still very upset. When we got home, Jen and I argued, as I said that she was irresponsible for going away and leaving Emily in the store without telling her. Jen says I just want to treat Emily like a baby and that she's old enough to be on her own in a store. I asked Jen why she didn't answer her phone, and she said she accidentally put it on Do Not Disturb. Jen is angry that I called her irresponsible and says that what she did is nowhere close to being an irresponsible parent. I know I can be overprotective of my kids, but we do live in a high-crime area, and it makes me very angry that Emily was left feeling scared. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I might spend too much time here, but your wife didn't say anything to your daughter because she wanted to make sure your daughter didn't ask to tag along. I'm immediately suspicious of what your wife was actually doing. I can't imagine being with anyone at a store, leaving and driving to another store, and not telling them, let alone a freaking child. Forget for a second whether or not she should have left the kid at the store alone. How the bleep do you not text them and say, hey, I'm going to X store. I'll be back in a bit. Unless you don't want to risk them saying, oh, I'll come with you. The biggest thing you're missing is that literally no one leaves their kid alone for 2 hours to go to a store down the street. And they don't conveniently put their phone on Do Not Disturb when they do that. There's a strong possibility that either she's cheating on you or, less likely but still possible, meeting a dealer of some sort. Not the idiot OP, but you're dense as heck. My niece, a young teen, has lived with me since her parents went to prison 5 years ago. My sister's getting out later this year. She's been working very hard in prison to improve herself and get her GED. We're still very close. We talk via an app that the prison provides, and I take her daughter to visit her, along with her brother, who lives with his dad's brother once a month. We were having a birthday dinner at my mother's for myself and my daughter, a teen. Most of my family was there. For my present, my niece decided to give me adoption request papers, or whatever they are. I never ended up reading them. I was stunned and just shook my head. I was so shocked and confused. The plan was she was always supposed to go home. My mother was upset by this request, as were my other siblings, and my husband couldn't think of what to do either. She never brought this up in counseling or anything. I can't do that to my sister. I wouldn't be able to take care of her financially without support from my grandma, who would stop supporting me if I agreed. This was never even a thought. Now she and my daughter hate me, it seems. My son, 21, said it was probably something she got from TikTok, and she will eventually get over it. My husband agrees with me. My siblings are staying out of it. My nephew isn't speaking to his sister now. It's a mess. Am I the idiot here? Edit. My sister has a home with a lot of rent paid and a job with my aunt waiting the minute she gets out. Not the idiot. Yes, your immediate response could have been better, but you were shocked and caught off guard, so it was understandable. Did your niece have help from an adult to get these adoption request papers? If so, Was this person aware that she was always supposed to return to her mom? If you haven't done so already, talking to both your niece and daughter separately about why you didn't agree to the request is probably in order. Info. You say your daughter's angry about it too? Could it have been your daughter's idea, and could she have been influencing your niece? The daughter could be the idiot if she pushed her niece to have the conversation publicly rather than in private. I disagree. You are the idiot. It's not even debatable for me. You took her in for years from a small child until now. You raised her and clearly showed her love no one else was more capable of doing. You made her feel like she had a real mother figure. You made her feel loved, wanted, and like a part of your own immediate family. She and your daughter clearly feel like sisters. So when she does what children do and attaches to you, your first response is to not comfort her or say yes? It was purely to say no? Worried about your sister and your mom? Why are they any more important than her? You really have some screwed up priorities. I feel terrible for that girl who now found out all she ever was to any of you was a burden and a placeholder to be good to her mom, who was never there for her. She will hate all of you for a long time now. You came here and still never even read the papers? Wow. I, 27 female, have an older sister, Kara, 45. We have a significant age gap but are still quite close, and she's basically like another parent to me. We got much closer when our mom died when I was 14. Kara basically raised me and is very overprotective, but in the past, I've asked her to give me some space. I have always been career-focused and dated casually, with nothing long-term. Most of my friends are married, and some have kids, so we're all at different life stages. My one and only serious relationship beyond 2 months was with my ex-fiancé, Ted. However, we broke up last year. I struggled to move on and only recently started casually dating. Still, I miss Ted, so I can't commit to anything. Kara helped me through the breakup, but she wanted me to get back together with Ted, as she really liked him and even suggested that I pass up the job for him. Kara wants me to settle down like she has, and I think we're too different. She's a stay-at-home mom to 3 kids and basically raising a 4th, as her husband doesn't lift a finger around the house and he'll kick up a fuss if the house is messy or there's no food on the table. I don't like my brother-in-law at all, and I've encouraged Kara to discuss getting him to help out around the house. Kara called me again last night to encourage me to start dating again, and she said that she had set up a blind date for me. Honestly, I feel like that's the only thing we've spoken about for the past few weeks. She said she just wanted me to be happy like she was, but I then told her that her life was my biggest nightmare. She got upset and said I was being too harsh. I mean, yeah, you are the idiot for saying it like that. Your sister raised you while also dealing with your mother dying. That's a lot, OP. Your sister probably did a lot more for you than you'll ever know. To say her life is a nightmare is absolutely awful. It sounds like you want her to step back, but it'll take a while when she feels responsible for you in your mother's stead. She seems to know that her husband is an issue. This could be her trying to convince herself it's not that bad. Why don't you really talk about your concerns about brother-in-law? Change the dynamic. If you want her to stop acting like a mom, then start acting like a sister yourself. Disagree. Everyone's the idiot here. Saying your life is my worst nightmare is a lot more awful than pressuring someone to reunite with their ex. Constantly pressuring them to date or marry or reproduce because you think that's necessary for happiness. Discouraging someone from doing their chosen career because you think they should reunite with their ex and setting up a blind date without their consent. Being rude to her sister? Sure, it's not ideal. However, it's not a totally unreasonable response to constant harassment. If Big Sis doesn't understand and respect OP's life choices by now, she's well into idiot territory herself. I'm not sure she has her best interest at heart, but they're both grown women. Time to mind your own business for a while.